way, as they are accustomed to doing. We take the credit, but they lead the way. And too often the case. I'm here to talk a little bit about the two things that I have experience in, as an organizer and as a formerly incarcerated person. I know about those two things. I know more about organizing because luckily I spent more time as an organizer on the other side. But I want to talk about first the condemnation of blackness. That there's no way that you can criminalize a people, expect then for that people to rise above a certain level, and then say to yourself, well, I thought they could do it all the time. We have been, and I just finished reading a very good book, depressing in some sense. It's called The Condemnation of Blackness. It's by a brother named Khalid Muhammad, who is the director of the Schoenberg Center for Research in Black Culture. And he painfully documents, about how we have since 1890, and probably even before, but certainly since then, stigmatized, systemized, and then criminalized, as if we told you they were bad and then they went out to prove it. If you look at our rates of incarceration today, that is a reflection of that. I'm going to ask a couple of things. One of the things that was missed about my introduction, I'm also a part of the steering committee of the Black Community, Clergy, and Labor Alliance. And one of the things that we've decided to do is develop this covenant. And part of the covenant does try to address, because we don't want to just say to the candidates, we love you and you love us, and you'll support us and we'll support you. No, here are some things, 8 things, that we think are important to us. One of them, in the area of employment, is we want the next mayor to lead an effort to ban the box. Anybody know what that is? Yeah. Well, for a formerly incarcerated person, there's a box that's on an application, and it asks me this question. Have you ever been? Have you ever been convicted of a felony? If you check that box, and I used to when I first got out, and I noticed I never got no callbacks. I stopped checking it. I got callbacks. So, a campaign to simply take that off the employment forms for city council. City employment. Now, what we're proposing is that, yes, in the second you get called in, and then you can ask that question. But if you ask that question from the start, you get nowhere. Right. That's one of the first things that we expect for the mayor to do. And that's a simple thing. But I think there's a lot more that we can do as a community. We have to be about calling for an end to the war on drugs, which has really been a war on us. Yeah. And the Institute of the Black World and some others across the country have been working on that as a national issue. So part of what we have to do, I think, and I want to take my last 45 seconds to remind us that it is first our responsibility to tell our own story. And if you tell a negative or criminalized story, then that's how people are going to look at you. If we say that we are criminals, one of the things that annoys me to no end, every time on the news reports you hear this, gang-related shooting. No, it's not. You don't know that. But if you say it, it makes it real. An alleged gang-related shooting. Then you never come back and prove it. So what happens is, in the public minds, is that there was a shooting. Must be gang-related. If it's gang-related, then it's black. We have to be the first people to say, you got to stop that. You don't know that. It may have been a shooting, and I think there's too many of them because we live in a gun culture society, but we can talk about that later. We have to be the ones who tell our own stories. The first story we got to tell that we are not criminals. Second story that we have to tell is that to make us criminals means that you are trying to do one of 3 things: make money, control us, and oppress us. Which one? You're either trying to make money off us by saying we need more prisons, or you're trying to control us because let's put those people in that corner. Or 3, you're oppressing us because obviously if you're criminals, you deserve to be oppressed. So part of our responsibility, part of the public responsibility that we have to change, I think, is 1, how the story is told, 2, how we project ourselves, and 3, how we stop criminalizing ourselves and our children. So as a part of our ongoing discussion, and that we talk about with at the covenant, and I want to go into specifically because there's a section on legal justice that we want to share with the candidates. But this is the beginning, we think, of a constant and continuous dialogue about our interests first and our issues second. I often have heard over the years as an organizer, black folks have issues. People with money and who are in commerce have interest. We have interest also, and our interests are as valid and as real as all people. So we have to be the ones to protect, promote, and explain our own interests. Thank you.
All right.